Hello, Captains. This is Kent again, and welcome to the Flight Show. So today I have the pleasure of doing a bit of a review. A few things have come out, and the first thing that I wanted to jump on was if you are a fan of Chris Bell's Black Marble, which enhances the nightlife for Prepared, he has done an update for Black Marble for Prepared 5. However, I have to give a cautionary warning here. When you first put it in, it has a conflict with the way that Orbx saves its files. And so when you install it, you're going to find that your airplane is going to be elevated at least 19 to 20 feet above the ground, and a lot of other objects are as well. And there were some discussions in the message board, and what I really appreciate is that Adam Pestridge put out a notice on his Discourse app discussing how you fix it. And it's a quick fix, utilizing editing the terrain file. And you'll have to do that every time Orbx, reinitializes its files or whatever. And that's a whole nother discussion. I just wanted to make sure that you knew this, because if you wanted to, go ahead and buy it, that's cool, but know what you're getting into. But I got it working. I really appreciate Adam's advice, and time for me to show you the enhancement of the nightlife. You may even tell just initially looking at these runway lights. We're taking off from Quito, or SEQM in Ecuador, and now we're going to fly around at night, which is a little bit of a dangerous thing considering that this is a very mountainous region, but there's just enough light so I think I can avoid running into some mountains. But you're going to get a really good look of what it means to fly in night using Chris Bell's Black Marble. Now, if you're wondering if I am endorsing this particular program, I would say wholeheartedly yes. I am really excited about it. Alright, we're going to raise the flaps. Okay. Now, you may not see much right now, but if you look, check out the city that surrounds this airport. No longer is the airport region denoted by a very general orangish hue that represents a city life that's below you. Now, what you're able to see is the actual lighting of individual houses in your autogen scenery. It's actually kind of amazing in my initial observations. So we're going to fly over this area to give you an idea of what it looks like. And then we're going to take a couple of other regions just to give you a sense of what flying in this looks like. Now, also what I have installed, aside from Black Marble, is Chris Bell's Vector. So, which some might say added frame rates in Prepared 4.5 in opposed to Orbx Vector. I can't say I know that for a fact, but I do know that I didn't regret using it. But Vector can be a bit of a funny thing, and I'm going to have to fly over some water areas to make sure that Chris Bell's Vector works well, because there were some issues I had in 4.5 with it. But that's a whole nother video. But take a look at the nightlife that's outside this window. Gone is the general hue. General just orangish. Oh, that big patch of orange there with a couple of spotted lights, that's a city. No, now you see a city, because these are houses with their lights on. And depending on, your autogen, how many buildings you have, it can be very rich. I, for the sake of this video, have cranked it up as far as I can, and it reasonably holds frame rates. So we're just kind of having a party here and seeing what there is to see. And I have to say, this is absolutely beautiful. Now, you might say, well, or explains nightlife is better. I haven't looked at X-Plane's nightlife in a little bit, so I'm not going to make this makes Prepared better than X-Plane argument. That's not the purpose of this video. This video is basically, if you are a prepared person and you want to get the most out of Prepared and enhance it so that you get some really good visuals, then this is a program that I would argue is worth having in your digital toolbox, because the effects speak for itself. I can only imagine what this would look like on an approach coming in after a long haul at night. And sometimes people avoid flying at night because it's just really not all that inspiring to look at, because the scenery, leaves something to be desired. But I think that's about to change. I think now, with Chris Bell's Black Marble, you would be just as interested to see things in the night sky as you would during the day. Now, if you also glance up, you will see the stars, which I never really had a problem with Prepared stars, but I did install Chris Bell's Stargazer. I am, full disclosure, I'm not even fully sure that I have it working right, because I kind of remember it looking differently in Prepared 4. So I'll get back to you on that, as whether this is really Stargazer. But check out the city in the valley. This is one of those moments where I'm sure some of you are looking and going, "Shut up and take my money!" And then, there may be some of you that are not all that awe-inspired, but I personally think this is amazing. The individual house lighting of the autogen scenery and the city light coming from the sum of those houses rather than a generic hue that illuminates a general area. This is, for lack of a better term, stunning. All right, let's go to another region to see what it looks like. Okay, now, full disclosure, this is Rio de Janeiro by Palo Ricardo, and it was already a brilliant scenery, but I really just wanted to see what the nightlife would look like and see if there is any distinct differences than with Chris Bell's Black Marble. So, I may not be able to tell, but I tell you one thing. If you do have Chris Bell's Rio de Janeiro and you have Palo Ricardo's Rio de Janeiro, I have a funny feeling, because this is the first time I'm looking, I think you're going to be in for a rare treat. Let's see if I'm right. I can't even hear my gear, so I'm just checking. Yeah, it's up. Okay. So, as you can see, this is... Okay, now I think I can tell the differences. So, here, where you have these rather detailed skyscrapers, that's Palo Ricardo. This, in this region, Palo Ricardo. But when you move further out, into this region, that's Chris Bell. And this is, right, Tropical Sims Airport for Rio de Janeiro, just so we all are on the same page. But look how beautiful this is when you got all of this working together. I mean, what can one say but whoa? I mean, really, whoa. Just trying to trim my aircraft up here. Okay, and so if you remember what I was talking about, that general hue that it would be used, you can kind of see a little of that right here. And you, so that little glow that makes it seem like, okay, that's the city. And then you can see that glow also here in the tarmac area of Tropical Sims. I forget which airport name, because there are two. As you see, I took off from one, and there's one right over here. I forget the two. But my point is, it's not using that for illumination. It's using individual house lighting. It's lighting up the autogen scenery. And I think that that's just an incredible use of lighting to make cities seem vibrant and alive. And then you throw in that I have vectors, Chris Bell's vector bridges. The bridges look much more impressive. So it really does a lot to make this an impressive, immersive city. I mean, wow. I hope you VFR flyers are getting this, because this is something else. Now, just to tell you, I do not have the hardiest of systems. I'm not running an i9 990K. I'm running a respectable system with an i7 870K. So not 870, but 8700K. And so, and the graphics are pretty ramped up. I don't in any way think that this is an issue of my system being enough. It's just a matter, do you tweak it such that you get the stutters taken care of? But I'm no longer doubting, is it powerful enough? Do I need more horsepower? No. It's just a matter now of getting the sim to work right. And I pretty much, pardon that, I pretty much have my stuttering thing down. But I will admit, there's some days it wants to stutter a little more than not, and I might have to reboot the computer or something. I haven't fine-tuned, I haven't gotten to the level where I want it yet, but it's much better than it was. And I just want to just take this time. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. If you are into VFR flying, then I think that Chris Bell's Black Marble will definitively be something worth your while. I don't think you will regret it at all. I mean, and who knows how many years into the future you're going to watch this video, but let me just acknowledge all of the people that are dealing with in Rio de Janeiro, the COVID-19, which is becoming the new epicenter of the globe. All I can say is my heart's out to you. Try to do as much social distancing as you can, which I know as an American it's easy for me to say, because we don't have a population density as great as Rio does, except in New York, and you saw what New York went through. So all this is to say, my heart goes out to you, and if you are down there watching this, do your best, and I feel confident that we will get through this difficult time. Alright, and while you're inside, look at flight videos, and if you got your simulator, do some simming. Alright, nevertheless, we're flying across the bay. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I think that pretty much speaks for itself. Alright, so let's take this to another region and see what it looks like. Okay, we are now in Buenos Aires, not Costa Rica, but rather Argentina. So we'll see what it has to look like out here before we go and move over to another continent. Payware airport for Buenos Aires actually doesn't look half bad. I mean, not like, mega airport level, but it is definitely better than default. Okay. Wow. I knew Buenos Aires was heavily populated, but geez. Check that out. I mean, I think that says it all right there. You want a heavily populated city and nightlife? There you have it. Now, performance will vary depending on your system and the amount of scenery that you have. Now, I've noticed this little bit of stuttering, but I now understand where that's coming from. Because I have on, like, long distance to be seen, and so it's loading in scenery because I notice the stutters kick in when the lighting comes at the edge and it's adding more city. Gotta work on that. I'll figure out how to deal with that, but for now, just take in the concentration of nightlife. And again, that lighting is not being produced by a general hue, but rather the individual buildings being lit up. I mean, what can you say? What can you say? So there is the, I believe that's the ocean right there. And we are just immersed in city lights here. Like I said, some of y'all are out there right now going, shut up and take my money. Now, you may be wondering, do you have an enhanced city of Buenos Aires? I do not. I do have Orbx buildings, HD buildings, but I do not have an enhancement to the city. So this autogen that you see here is basically HD building and the default scenery. So, whoa. You can see a little bit of the glow here. That's the bridges from the vector right there. But, whoo. This will make you want to fly around at night alone. As I said before, I flew mostly in the daytime because there was really very little to see at night. But this changes that. This changes that. You might have that look now of when you're flying on a commercial flight at altitude and you're passing over those, you know, small towns in between the big destinations where you're going. This is it. Alright, I think we'll do one or two more cities before we turn it in. Be right back. Okay, you know it. Had to come to my hometown. Let's take a look at what Chicago looks like in the night sky while using Chris Bell. Off the ground, gear up. Now, of course, this is the cityscape that comes with Chicago X by Drzewiecki, but we're going to see if the night lighting, not necessarily of these skyscrapers, but of the city, is enhanced. I have to say, this is beautiful. And if I give you a peek, that is a lot different than what it was. Alright, we're going to level out here. Bring back our throttles a bit. Trim out. And turn towards the city.
Obstacle ahead. Pull up. Obstacle ahead. Pull up.
I'm not hitting the John Candy.
Obstacle ahead.
Calm down. Alright, so as you can see, this is another one of those shut up and take my money moments. Let's see if I can just level out here. Alright, I think we got our trim almost where we want it. So, I think it speaks for itself. I mean, are you kidding me? Holy cow. Again, it's not using a generic hue to signify that there's life down there. What it's doing is it's lighting individual autogen houses. And I have no idea how they're doing that. But this is insane. So, essentially, and what's really interesting is when you do this, how you'll have, like here, intense lighting because of the city lights, and then you have a park area, and you can see its darkness, which is what you would expect to see above a heavily populated city. It just gives me a sense of familiarity. It's crazy. But, again, you definitely get the feeling of being over a very large, heavily populated metropolis as it pertains to light. I can say this. I feel pretty confident that if you get Chris Bell's Big Black Marble, and you're a person who normally doesn't do a lot of flying at night, you're going to start to. Because, and I get it, because I wasn't a person who really preferred to fly at night either, because it's like, what's there to see? Okay, once you leave the airport, it's pretty uninspiring. But that's not the case here. That is not the case at all. I mean, even at altitude with commercial, you'd be interested to see, does this remind you of what the city looks like when you take a flight across, the United States or wherever you are, and you see little patches of light which, are small towns, and these little streams of light which would be the roads in between them. I mean, this looks like Chicago. This view right here, that's something else. This alone, flying over Chicago X scenery, like this, with, these frame rates, this is definitively worth the price of admission, if you will. Now, as I mentioned, I'm using Chris Bell's Black Marble and Vector. Now, understand that Orbx has not released Vector for Prepar3D as of yet. And which is better? I mean, I can only speak from what I was getting when I was with Prepar3D 4.5. But I will say that I like the bridges that comes along with the option to have bridges with the Vector, because the bridges are much more realistic. And there is Midway Airport, of which I do have the payware Fly Tampa Midway, working there. Yeah. Stunned. Absolutely stunned. I know that rail yard too. Oh wow. Crazy. Alright, let's look at maybe one or two more metropolitan areas. So, do you know where I am? You will in a minute. Let me just go ahead and make a turn here. Pardon that little pause. Surely that looks familiar to you. As the lighting kicks in, we are now flying over the Big Apple. I was very curious to see what this would look like. We're flying with New York X by Drzewiecki, and you know, so they already had their scenery that was stunning. But then I was very curious, what would the autogen scenery look like out in the boroughs? And I have to say, it looks really good. Right now we're flying over LaGuardia. The scenery there, that is, yeah, that's the Drzewiecki's LaGuardia Airport. Out of their airports, 2 or 1 pack, I forgot. And off in the distance is John F. Kennedy. But that's not the point of this video. The point is check out the autogen, meaning or more so the lighting of the autogen. Now it's a little dark in the city, and I guess, oh, okay, so it needed to load. But that's dramatic. That is very dramatic. So I must say that I'm impressed. Now I noticed this brightness change from here to here, and I don't know if that's a matter of Chris Bell or New York X. I don't know, but I know that all of this is normally provided by Drzewiecki, so I won't necessarily make a judgment on this. It's the outlying scenery that I really wanted you to see, which is the lighting of a hugely populated metropolitan area due to Chris Bell's night lights. And I have to say, it appears to be worth the price of admission. Let's see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. I can tell you, if you're into VFR, there is a lot going on here, and I can dig that. All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my initial review of Chris Bell's Big Black Marble and Vector, since it's all in there together. And what I find is it does enhance your night lighting. It's not imaginary, unless I am crazily mistaken of what it was looking like before this, which I do not believe I am. This is really, really good. For lack of a better word, I'm impressed, and I'm glad I own it. I am going to definitely get some more night flights out of my simulator if this is what I have to look at. Now, mind you, if you're going to have it this intense, you know, from my experience, have what, at least what I have in terms of a CPU, which is a i7 8700K. I am running a RTX 280 Ti video card. I know not everybody can have that sort of thing. I worked, extra duty last summer to pick up one for myself, so I understand that. But a 1080 Ti should be able to handle this just fine, because what the difference of the RTX and the GTX is effects that I don't even think Prepared utilizes. So I don't think that's going to be an issue for you. By the way, right there, that's the effect of, see the on-ramp or an off-ramp to the bridge? That's the effect of vector. Oh wow, check out the aircraft on approach to LaGuardia. Totally cool. But okay, I believe for some of you all out there, this was a shut up and take my money moment, and I don't blame you. You should get in a helicopter and just fly around New York alone. But I think this is enough. We're at 32 minutes anyway. So I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope this influences you to, even if it dissuades you, that this video was informative enough to say, yeah, this is something that I would want, or no, this is something I don't think I'll put my money in, then it was helpful. One, to keep you from wasting your money, or to help you spend it on something that will help you enjoy your simulator that much more. Actually, that's pretty cool how you have the big black void here where there's no lighting, because that's the water, and then you have the city. That's a cool effect. Sorry, I'm just in awe. And maybe I'm easily impressed. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review, and I look forward to seeing you in the virtual skies. Oh, before I let you go, let me say once again, thank you, Adam Prestridge, for putting out that information that allowed me to put this in the simulator and have it working. And as it turned out, I did something with Orbx that caused it to go back to where it was. Followed your advice, just ran the steps again. Everything was fine. It's a little tedious, but you know what? I can handle it. No big deal. Appreciate you. All right, take care, everybody.